Hi guys, I'm Yusuke, karate coach here in Japan, and thank you so much for coming back to the channel. On this channel of Karate Dojo waKu, we cover tutorial videos of karate, reaction videos like these, and documentary series on karate. So make sure to subscribe if you're looking for these content. Today we're looking at The Last Samurai to learn the Bushido mentality. Bushido mentality is basically the way of the Japanese warriors. I'll be adding on my expertise as a Japanese person and a karate sensei. So let's get started. 4 drops. Honshu, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Hokkaido, the big 4 islands of Japan, basically. It looks like they've taken part of this in Kyushu. There's a famous mountain called Asozan. It seems very similar to that. Oh, Ken Watanabe. Let's go. I love him. I think he might have been the best character to show as a tiger. Okay, tigers don't exist in Japan. They are in China, not in Japan. So that's a little bit that's a questionable part, but yeah, white tigers especially. We don't have that in Japan. I assume he's one of the stronger samurais. That says samurai in Japanese. Oh, I guess we're in the US.
America's leader in all forms of armament used by the United States Army celebrates our nation's centennial by bringing
He looks wasted.
American hero Captain Nate Aldrin.
Nathan. So that's the main character's name, I assume.
Ladies and gents, is the gun that's winning the West. Why, many's the time I found myself
He's reading
surrounded
it.
by a swarm of angry hostiles with nothing but this rifle
Oh wow.
between me and a certain
The thing I noticed the most is the vivid colors in this scene compared to the slightly not saturated colors of the scenes in Japan.
scalp of mine would be long gone.
Oh, the Japanese. Do they speak English though?
Nathan Aldrin, I'd like you to meet Mr. Omura from Japan.
Omura.
Associate whose name I've given up trying to pronounce. Sit down.
Omura means a big town in Japanese. All of our last name has a meaning, so.
Now, Japan's got it in mind to become a civilized country. And Mr.
Basically, during the Meiji Restoration, which I did a pretty deep video on in this one, you can check that out later. Japan turned from a very samurai kind of society into a Western modernized society. So I assume this movie is going to take place during those revolutionary years. I guess it depends if you look at it from a revolution aspect or the demise of the history, the culture, or the pride of the probably Bushido. They're heading off across the Pacific to the land. Oh, that says Kita Taiheiyo, the Northern Pacific. Interesting. Okay, so they used to distinguish the Northern Pacific and the Southern Pacific. And yeah, all of these are Japanese, they're not Chinese. They even named all the small islands in Alaska and Russia. Wow. I assume this is a very accurate map back then, 1876. So 10 years after the Meiji Restoration, when Japan basically opened up its border. So I would say history-wise, it's very correct. Oh, that's Mount Fuji probably. So I guess they're going into Shizuoka. You can't really see Mount Fuji that big, but you know, it's very cool, right? You know, if you think about it, it's only 170 years ago. Our society has evolved so much. Oh, Yokohama Harbor. Yokohama is where I grew up, so this is actually pretty accurate. From Yokohama, you can see Mount Fuji, but it's not that big. It's like this small. And the fact that there is the harbor, and then if in the hundreds, I would say like 200 kilometers away is Mount Fuji. Like the way they showed it, I think is actually very accurate. And Yokohama Harbor was the center. It used to be one of the big ports where foreign ships would come in, the trade would happen. Wow. So far, I'm enjoying it. Ah. So there are the old Japanese and the new Japanese and Western clothes. Oh. Oh, that's the guy from Harry Potter.
Oh, jolly good. How'd you do? Simon Graham.
Oh yeah, what are all these people? Okay, so yeah, this kago basically a small box. A lot of high rank people would go in here, and the people at the lower rank would carry it.
Bringing in every Western expert he can get his hands on. Lawyers from France, engineers from Germany,
Some Westerners too.
warriors from America. I came over with the British trade mission. Years
Okay, so this guy's from
I'm
Britain.
so relieved of my position. I had a rather unfortunate tendency to tell the truth in a country where no one ever says what they mean.
No one ever says what they mean. That's the Japanese
I
way.
very accurately translate other people's lies.
Yeah, I had a trouble doing the translations for the Yusuke no Okinawa series too, so I know exactly how he feels. You have to read between the lines, or read the air in Japanese terms.
Emperor was even seen by a comrade. You have to realize what an absolute treat this is, what an honor. Rather snug around the middle.
Currently in Japan, the emperor lives in right at there's a Kokyo. That's where the emperor lives. It's right in the middle of Tokyo. So if you guys ever come to Japan or to Tokyo, you can basically walk around his building. It's huge. Actually, guys, the way you traditionally walk in Japan, the polite way, with high manners, and the way karate moves the body is very similar. It's called Ogasara Reiho, which is one of the manner ways that one of the Japanese people used to follow. And that went into Okinawa, merged in there, and became karate. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can check out this video. The walking methods are very similar, although they're not doing it correctly. You go from the toes, you don't move the head. It's very similar. It's an underlying concept in all Japanese martial arts.
Well done, sir. What can the general tell me about this man, this samurai, Katsumoto? He seems to have great knowledge.
He said Katsumoto used to be the emperor's teacher.
I will count on his help. On faith.
That wasn't translated.
Supplies or weapons?
Katsumoto is admired by the people who's following the way of the samurais. He won't be using any long-range weapons. They believe that long-range weapons like guns it showed them to be a little bit of a puny guy. If you want the pride, they fought with the katana, the sword.
He uses no firearms.
To those who honor the old ways, Katsumoto is a hero.
I love this translation.
Well, the general and Katsumoto fought together for the emperor.
He fought with the samurai.
He is a samurai.
He is samurai.
He's a modernized samurai. They're just in different positions.
Katsumoto pledged his sword to defend the emperor. They say that the samurai's sword is his soul. They're paradoxical people, samurai. I've been trying to write a book about them for years, but they seem to keep very much to themselves. The bastards are still wearing armor. Yes, and when the Irish were still comporting themselves in loincloths.
That's a picture of seppuku, killing themselves for honor.
Chaps are already
if they are going to be killed by someone else, they would rather kill themselves. Alright, by the way, guys, the word sake translates to alcoholic beverages in Japanese. So I think in English, when you say sake, you guys represent that clear liquor, the Japanese liquor, right? But when we say sake, that includes whiskey, wine, everything is sake. And if we want to mention especially the sake that you call in English, we say nihonshu in Japanese. Nihon meaning Japan, shu meaning sake, Japanese sake. I wonder why they're taking peasants to shoot a gun. Because guns were in Japan from the 1600s. So I guess they wanted to make this story a little bit clearer by saying that guns didn't really exist and that the Westerners brought it in the late 1800s to Japan, but that's not the case. The Portuguese brought guns to Japan earlier in time. It's a very famous story that Oda Nobunaga, who was the first general to take in this mysterious weapon of guns, dominated the enemies earlier in time. So I would say that this part is emphasized a bit too much.
How do you intend to find Katsumoto?
Don't worry, Mr. Graham. I assure you, they'll find us.
Oh yeah, one thing that's pretty interesting about the Japanese geography is that 70% of our land is mountains. So we are a pretty steep country if you look at it from the highest point to the lowest point. And obviously, as like any other land, the coastline is the lowest point. That's why the bigger cities of Japan are alongside the coastlines of our country. So our railroad system, all of it, the fast ones, the bullet trains, which we call it as Shinkansen, runs on the coastline. So when you guys come over here, you'll be able to see the beautiful beautiful ocean as you travel across the whole country. Some go through the in the middle of the country, but that's in between the mountains, in the valleys. So yeah, it must have been extremely difficult to wait. The trees don't seem Japanese. It seems too tropical. Yeah, these. I assume they took this, I don't know, somewhere like Hawaii. Yeah, that's not a Japanese tree. Probably, yeah, Hawaii.
They're on officers, for Christ's sake. Let's move to the rear.
We'll be there presently.
If you guys know, let me know.
Axe,
Chakken means put on the sword. Oh, that's the kaibue. They would take huge shells, seashells, and they would make that sound. Guys, for a mini fact, all the Japanese martial arts derives from the samurai way to survive in the battlefield. Aikido, judo, karate, everything. Oh, karate, to be specific, not really, but a lot of essence from it. If you guys like to learn more, please check out this video. He said, "Tori nigasu na, don't miss the bullet." I don't think only the high-ranked generals wore the katchu, that special hat. But within the same army, they would have the same design. So the fact that there are all these unique designs is kind of weird. It's like they each represent a different family, but they all fall under a certain family, so. Okay, it's samurai time. Ah. Oh. Oh. With one hand. Ah. Wow, this is so cool. Oh. He looks like your general. Oh. Oh, Ken Watanabe is here. Ah. Whoa. You know, in the philosophy of Japanese samurais, fairness played a huge role. For instance, there's a story when two families were fighting each other. One was lacking their salt, and without salt, they couldn't cook, they couldn't get the correct nutrients. So what the other family did was that they heard this family lacking some food, so they sent the food, made them healthy so that they can fight fairly. So that kind of mentality is in the Japanese samurais, and that actually happened in our history. He was like, it's no use beating you when you're worn out even before the fight. That one, he's basically, after the fight, they have to get rid of the blood, because that's gonna get the iron of the sword in a bad condition. So made it clear, pure. The guy would stab the stomach, cut across, and then get it up, and his guy at the back would cut off his head, so that he can die peacefully. That's the tradition of seppuku. These old houses, you can't really see them in Japanese normal, cities. But if you go to Shirakawa-go, you can check out a lot of these houses. So I recommend you guys to go there too. Alright, so let's end it for part 1 right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be doing part 2 very soon, so please look forward to it. Subscribe to my channel, and also I do online group lessons and private lessons of karate. So if you'd like to learn karate together with me, come check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.